Welcome to the dark side. This is your host, Ultra Magnus. We have the coach, GM slash Waterloo contingent, NathanMB of the Taipei Typhoons, who I had the luxury of playing last night in probably the worst glitch game ever. Not in-game glitch. It was that note to everyone: do not try to change your player out for an injury a split second right after he gets injured. Wait until the penalty's called. So we had two or three of them, but here's Nate.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. That was a bit of a rough game last night. We had to restart twice, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're too quick on the draw, man. You're changing your guys out before you even hit the ice.
Well, that's what happens when you play Waterloo. You get injured quite frequently, so you're going to have to be quick on the draw. I have to be quicker than somebody else at something.
It was either you're coming down with the down T slap shot. It was either charge and injure you, or the puck's going in. So it's no choice there.
Hey, I'll take my 50-50. Either way. So Nate, since you've been in the league now, you've been in the league since season 2. Tell us a bit about yourself, like if you're open to that, because some of the guys have started talking a little bit, whether like your job, what passions you have, but leave some of the juicy stuff for rapid fire.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like most people know, I'm like Sean's little brother. I'm 6 years younger than Sean. I guess like I kind of grew up playing. I don't know, like I think I played 93 to be honest, or 94. Like I never played 95 at all until I want to say like probably 2014-ish.
Wow.
Sean was telling me about the tournaments that they had, so I kind of just joined in with that crew at that point. But so it's like I guess it's like relatively new to me. And yeah, like I don't know, like I work online and travel a lot. It's kind of my life. I don't really but that's kind of why I'm around during the day, not actually doing work and able to play some day games.
So you're in the same boat as me, that I'm a traveling salesperson. I'm mostly at home unless I'm needed on site. So.
Right. That's why we've already got 4 games in this year, so we're matching up pretty well.
Or myself, I have 46 in for the season so far. So it's freaking ridiculous. But when you get into like a swirl, you try to keep yourself out of it. So, so basically, Nate, what would be one of your worst experiences of NHL 95? It could be season related or it could be non-season related.
I guess probably like 2 come to mind. Like first, I'll go back to like Waterloo, like a Waterloo tournament, and then I'll bring up the season 1 as well. Like the Waterloo, I guess it was one of the first years that I joined. Probably I'd been for like 2 years prior to this, and we used to have the rule that we kind of talked about, but like you had to drink a bottle of OE. I don't remember if it was like to start the tournament or like throughout the tournament, but like basically you were drinking it pretty quickly. So everyone would be like relatively wasted by a certain point of the night, which is good. But I think like at that point I had never really drunk OE, like much OE before, and I got pretty drunk, and was also like smoking a lot of weed. So I remember playing and like being completely like dizzy watching the game or something. Like I couldn't even like focus on like the players moving, and I was just kind of going like by pure like instinct of like grabbing the goalie and shit. Like you couldn't even see what's going on. So I remember that being a bit rough. And then this was at Moses' his house at the time, and I remember like eventually just getting to the point where I had to go to bed, and I like passed out in a room that like this was like Moses' cat's room, I guess. And I'm like very allergic to cats. So I remember waking up at like 3 or 4 in the morning, like being unable to breathe, like scrambling to find my puffer, and just being like, what the fuck's going on here? So I guess overall, like that's probably my worst like Waterloo moment. Not really like NHL related, but
well, yeah, it was somewhat related because you were playing the game and you were trying to take a break and you woke up not being able to breathe. And those are kind of moments where you would think Tickle Puss would come involved.
But yeah, like I don't even remember if I finished the tournament or what, but I don't think that was one of my better
So I had a quick
Uh,
question before you jump into the 95 experience one. Do you think Sean is like Jim Leahy drinking iced tea and giving everyone else the perception that he's actually drinking?
no, he drinks a drink.
Okay. Okay, good to
Yeah,
know.
he gets wasted. So if you're playing in person versus Sean, like you have a much better chance for sure. Um, so it's always like it's a fine balance at these tournaments because I don't know, like we're drinking all day, so it's like, and it seems kind of like the Sagathon crew has the same thing where, it's like who can actually stay sober enough. Like you experienced it, I guess, right? Like
Oh, I did.
who can play well, but who can actually like maintain their faculties enough to, to last.
Well, and that's the fun. That's the funny thing because there were some guys at the Segathon tournament when I was like, oh well, okay, that doesn't like some people were bitching at Brandon, who's Autobahn, saying that he's not drinking enough. He's sober, but Brandon's also like 6'4", and like 240, 250.
Right.
So
Right,
like
right.
he's a big boy. So like for him to hold his alcohol compared to somebody who's like, I don't know, like Blair, who's like 6'1", 6'2", and like a buck 90. Yeah,
Right.
like obviously the alcohol's gonna run a little smoother for Autobahn, whereas Blair, as you could saw on the Dark Side 95 with Richfield, was completely off the fucking rails because he ended up in my lap.
Yeah. So he's got like a built-in advantage for 95. Like it definitely suits him for these tournaments. Where yeah, like I guess in like the Waterloo standpoint, like I think the last tournament we had, the keg was a bit like it might have been like 7% or 8% or something. So it was a bit deceiving with how drunk everyone was getting early on, and we actually had like the two Finnish guys come down and play in our tournament as well, and the one didn't make it to the tournament. Like he passed out kind of when the knockout round started. He was sleeping in a hammock for the night. So yeah, it's kind of like it goes. I don't know. You kind of have to like try to pace yourself, but obviously no one wants to. And Sean can't at all. Like, he's brutal. He'll just drink till he's blacked out. So I think that's why Colin always gets the advantage in those tournaments. Like he's a bit better at pacing himself.
Well, I guess it's not a sprint; it's a marathon.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas we
Try telling
honestly,
that to Sean.
where we honestly think games against Waterloo guys is a sprint because honestly, like I've played all of you guys so far, and to be honest, Sean is very beatable. Like, and I've said it before, and I'll stand by it again. It's his style of play. If you're in the right mindset, you could take him down. If you're just going in being like, oh, okay, I'm playing Sean, whatever, like you can never be prepared for it. But the thing is, at least if you're in the right mindset, saying, you know what, I know what I need to do to be able to be competitive against them, and if you execute it, you're gonna be fine. You,
Yeah. I think it also depends like what his mindset is at. I've seen him play where he's really running around a lot and like you can kind of get chances against him. He's also when he's like really locked in playing defense, it's really hard to get enough scoring opportunities to. I think you basically have to beat him like low scoring, like 2-1, 3-2 games. If you, I don't know, like I just don't think you're going to be able to score enough to
no,
like on him.
I agree with you. It's more or less you have to go the LHX route, low scoring,
Yeah. I think
Segathon
so.
type
I think
things
so.
against them.
Yeah.
And if you get 4 or 5 on them, like tip your hat to yourself because that's probably the one and only time it'll happen. But
Yeah.
then
Exactly.
Colin is
Exactly.
this. Colin, I still haven't played him enough to know how to play him. Moses, Moses and I like I understand how Moses plays, and it's like, fuck. Like honestly, sometimes I feel like just taking a gun and shooting myself in the crotch, or fucking pounding a beer, being like, yeah, celebration, I beat another Waterloo guy. It's just like it's night and day. It's not
Well,
never in between.
we split every single time we play. Like I don't think we've had one series the whole time. I don't think that we haven't that one of us has won both times. I think
No,
every
and
single time
and
it's
if
been split.
and if it was one of us won in overtime and then the other one won in overtime, so it's like okay, we both got 3 points, but no one's further ahead.
And it's also like yesterday, the one game was 2-0, and then the other one was 6-3. It's like it's really up and down, like the type of game as well.
Yeah.
Whereas you play a certain, like I know when I'm playing Sean, basically it's going to be a low scoring game. Like we both play a similar style, he's just better at that style. But I don't know, like it's kind of cool, like getting through the different styles in the league, which I'm sure we'll get to. But it's like pretty cool to see all the differences, I guess.
Oh, definitely. So what's your 95's worst story?
Yeah, definitely like the season 3 playoffs against King Wrath. Definitely like that was the first round. I was the underdog. I think he was like a 3 seed. I was a 6, I believe. He crushed me the first 2 games. I came back to win the next 2. Was feeling pretty good about myself, and then game 5, I think I was up either 2-1 or 1-0 with under a minute to go, and I tried like. I remember I was listening to a lot of the broadcasts, and Moses just kept talking about the Taipei dump over and over, and I was like getting in my head like, oh, this is kind of like a stupid way to play or something. And I tried to rush the puck with McGinnis, and Rav just like hit me, went in and scored on a breakaway, it beat me in OT, and then like won the series. And I was pretty pissed about that, because it's like my my game is to just dump the puck down and like deal with the shit after, and I like randomly tried to rush the puck with like 40 seconds left in the game. Probably cost me the series. So yeah, that's definitely my worst ever.
Okay, so what's your best?
The best is.
I would honestly say your playoff run that you did in season 2.
Yeah, I think so. Beating like as the 8 seed, upsetting number 1, right? Like that's
yeah, you beat Nips. You beat Nips, then you beat McLean.
Yep.
And then you played Troy Hill and lost in 7.
Actually, yeah, I took him to 7 somehow too. I don't know how. I felt like he was way better than that whole series, but I somehow was just squeaking out games. It was just like a weird run. Like got kind of even like all the series were super close. So that was definitely my best run so far. I haven't been able to win a series since that point, but. Well, I was also probably like no one really knew my style at that point, so I think everyone kind of knows.
I think everybody's in that same boat. When you guys, all the Waterloo guys came in the first season, other than Colin, everybody was just like, okay, the Waterloo guys, their style is going to be like this. And everyone was projecting, and then everyone got fucking slammed all at once. But right. Then I think the playoff styles of you, Colin, Moses, and Sean changes once you guys hit playoff mode.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah,
I've noticed that in all the gameplays. Sean is probably the most consistently unchanged about how he goes from season to playoffs, but Collins seems to be more aggressive. And even in the finals, I kept on saying it when I was on the commentary with Moses. I said, do the fucking Taipei dump. You have a 2-0 lead. Dump the fucking puck down. Every single time. It doesn't matter. Squeak out wins. It doesn't matter how you do it. And then yourself.
Colin's just trying to score. Like he's there to put up goals. Like he's not gonna worry about defense.
No, I know, but at the same time too, some guys do worry about defense. Like there's juggernauts on defense in this league. Then there's like high octane teams that have the juggernauts, and then you're just like, well, there's no happy medium for any other teams. But
right.
Either way, given trends in the league, which trend have you seen that's caught you off guard? Or that you've started seeing a little bit more of, that people are like, oh, you're seeing people experiment with a new style of play.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been pretty cool to watch I don't know how it's changed. I guess through like 3 seasons that I've been in the league. I think I've noticed a lot more of the like slap shots, like your move there, the down C. That seems to be kind of like Audubon got me. I don't know, probably 2 or 3 goals and. I think to like eliminate me in last year's playoffs, so I was getting pretty frustrated with that one. I feel like I've seen a lot more of that, and definitely like less of the like dump behind the net move, which like for a while I think maybe in season 2, season 3, like that was kind of like the go-to move. But I think people have kind of caught on to that, and people are also defending like behind the net a little better as well.
Yeah.
Which is kind of where I like to set up. So I think it's been very noticeable to like cutting off the other side of the net instead of grabbing the manual. I think that has been a definite trend. And I think defensively as well, like I thought for a while it was kind of like clogging up the middle of the ice, like kind of like how Pitt and LHX play, like they're really good at that. And then it's kind of, I'm not sure if this is true, but maybe it's shifted into just like big hits. Like there's so much speed on every team that I think like it's easier to just kind of fly around and like hit people, kind of like Waterloo style. I think.
Which I think it goes into your favor because you guys are already used to that style of play.
Yeah, I think so, and I think that's why like you've seen like how Sean's had trouble in some of the playoffs with like LHX or Pitt. I think it's like the style of really clogging up the middle. Like it's hard to get anything going against that style. Like those guys are really, really good defensively. But it's hard to do as well. You need to be really patient and to like. I don't know, like I'm trying to kind of replicate it, but I'm just not patient enough. Like I want to like hit. I can't just sit there.
Sit
But
idly
yeah, I don't
by.
know. Yeah, it's pretty impressive. Like I don't know, LHS especially, like the way he just kind of clogs in the middle of the ice. It's like shit. Like it's very.
I figured out, and the funny thing is too how my season's been going. It's been like such a roller coaster ride, and I've already determined the way I like. I already thought I was like, oh, Ron Francis is going to be my center, and Forsberg is going to be my wing. And had a revelation yesterday, and I was like, fuck this. I brought Rowning in for a reason. I brought Forsberg in for a reason, and I lost last night 2 games in a row to Einstein. He fucking beat me up, and I was so pissed. And then I played Sumter. Nothing against you, Pink, but his team is slow as mud. And I took complete advantage of his team. And I had Forsberg at center. I said, fuck this, I'll play Forsberg at center. I'll have Rowning on the wing. I think Forsberg put up 14 goals in 4 games.
Yeah.
So
no, I think that's your best lineup. I think for sure. Like I think I was trying to do this in season 2. I had like Kristich I think at center for a while because I was like, well, he's a good like one-timer guy. He can like sit in the high slot, but I don't know. There's a slow center like just for defensive purposes as well. Like
Owen
I think
Nolan.
you just kind of like generate a lot more like random offense with having the best speed out there.
Yeah, and like for me, going back to season 1, I had a really shitty center. I had Olin Nolan, but he had a cannon and he had shot accuracy.
Yeah.
And he would trail behind because he wasn't fast as everybody else. So like he found that empty slot in the middle, right in front of the goalie, and just cranked it. So
it's interesting because I think there's 2 ways to look at it. Like you can have this slower guy who's capitalized, like Shanahan on Autobahn last year. Like he killed me in the playoffs, and I could like. He was always in the right spot, and he would just like bury every one-timer. And it's like I don't like his speed was probably not very good. I'm not sure what it is, but
it's 4 out of 6.
Yeah, exactly, right. So I think there is an argument for having a slower guy at center. I think for me, it's more defensively. I need to have some speed at center just to like get back check and shit, or else like I'm gonna just give up too many opportunities. I'm not good enough on offense to like counteract that. Whereas more like offensive players, maybe it's fine. But
all I can say is fuck you, because what Paul Kariya did to me yesterday, if you're saying, oh, I can't score on offense, it's bullshit.
Oh, he shut me out the game before. So.
Yeah, but still, it's funny how this league goes, because there's games where you're just like, I can't get a fucking shot on goal, and then there's games where you're like, the floodgates have opened.
It's honestly crazy, yeah. Just when you think you're playing like really well, you like found a balance. It'll be like in the Waterloo tournament, I lost. I don't even know. I think I lost like 8 straight games or something like that. And it was just like, what the hell? Like I don't even know what I'm doing right now. It's crazy how quickly it comes and goes.
You basically second guess your existence in the league.
Yeah.
All right, so that brings us to rapid fire. So I'm just going to throw out a whole bunch of questions, and you answer them however you want. Go into detail if you need to, but it's your choice of how you want to approach it. So
Gotcha.
your worst fear.
My worst fear. I'm gonna say like being in a some sort of like locked in job with no freedom. There's something about that is very terrifying to me. I need to like be able to do my shit without like feeling like I'm like suffocated or something like that.
I want to play my NHL 95 league. Leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah, exactly. I want to be able to do my shit without like locked into something. Yeah, that's my worst fear.
There you go. Do you have a bucket list trip? Even though you had horse meat last year.
Yeah, that was one of them, honestly. Like that, I've wanted to go to that area for a long time. So that Central Asia trip, that's definitely up there. I'll say like, if I had to choose one more, let's go like Mongolia, some shit like that, or like Siberia, something like that would be really cool.
Yeah. I have 2 left on mine. My wife and we went to Norway a few years ago, and we ended up stopping over in Iceland. But I would love to go to Alaska, and I really don't know. Maybe I would love to go to Europe. I've never been to Europe, so
Whereabouts, do you know?
Well,
Any
like
spots in particular?
well, we would want to do kind of like a circuit, so it'd be kind of like maybe Spain. We would want to do Germany for sure during Christmas time because of the Christmas village.
Yeah,
I would like to do Prague, and
yeah.
I would love to go to Greece.
Right on. Yeah, yeah. No,
So
all would be great.
yeah. Next one, best piece of advice that you've been given or were given.
Best piece of advice?
Yeah, best piece of advice you were ever given or that you have given.
Um, Probably like to do things now. I think I've had that mindset of like not waiting to do shit. And I'm very grateful that I've been able to actually like just kind of do things when I want to. Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Favorite TV show and movie.
Oh, Seinfeld for sure. Without a doubt, Seinfeld, and we'll go Black Sheep.
I've never seen it.
Oh man, have
I've
you
never.
watched other Chris Farley movies?
Oh, Black Sheep. Oh, I'm thinking though of like I saw Tommy Boy. I haven't seen Black
Right,
Sheep
right, right.
yet.
Yeah.
So
No, Black Sheep is. I think it's better than Tommy Boy. It's like very comparable. It's almost the same movie, but I think it's just like a better version.
well, it's similar to when people say, "Oh, Super Troopers is amazing." It's great, but watch Beer Fest.
Right, right, right. Yeah.
So it's similar to that. The leading into it, favorite beer
Favorite beer?
or mixer. It doesn't really
I'm kind
matter.
of one of those guys that just shows up at a beer store and chooses a random beer. That like the can that looks cool.
You
Let's
just
go
go
with
in
like
and
a
close your eyes.
Steam Whistle. If I have to go with like a name brand beer, I'll go with like Steam Whistle. I seem to be drawn to that can. So.
I guess so. It's kind of like Colin's new team, Saturday. What's it called? Sudbury Saturday Nights.
Right. Yeah. Anything that's like bright, I'll just buy, unless it's an IPA, which I don't.
You open it up and even the liquid is bright. Then you got a problem. The last thing you did that you regretted.
Drink horse milk.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm very allergic to horses, which I knew, and I'm also allergic to milk. So that the combo wasn't very good. Yeah, I was very allergic to that.
Fuck, well, so as long as you don't start drinking cat's milk, then we'll be okay.
Right.
Favorite game other than 95? Could be Sega or even newer games.
I'm gonna go with Road Rash. Old Sega game. I love that game. Have you played that?
Oh yeah, I played it back in the day, but I was telling Nips this yesterday. My favorite game on Sega other than 95 would be Theme Park.
What is it?
Theme Park. Basically, it's like Sim City, but you build an amusement park.
Interesting. Oh, that actually kind of sounds familiar. Huh.
It's fun. There was
I can see that, yeah.
there was one spot in it. You go to Africa, you buy basically like marine land, but I called it Bacteria Splash because the water was brown. So I just found it was a fun game. Still is. Something you would tell yourself from 95 that you would do now to make yourself a better player.
Like something I would tell myself back in the year 1995?
Yeah, you would go back to 1995 when the game came out and told them, say, hey, listen, you got to practice this because this is going to be important.
Okay, I'll say two things. Like number one, like make sure you're good at manual. I think that's super key, and I'm not that good at it. Or could be better at it. Number two, I will say like I feel like I have a tendency to try to like avoid the D.
I hope you avoid the D.
But like watching like Colin's play, for example, like his guys just like go through the defenseman. Like it's uncanny. And he just kind of like silos up beside the G-man and like cruises on by. You know what I mean? And I feel like when I'm close to the opponent, I'm like trying to pass the puck away, or you know what I mean? Like I get rid of it quickly. And I think there's something to be said for just like they're not going to hit you every time, you know? Like you'll lose the puck sometime, but not always. And I don't know. I've tried to do it and it doesn't work for me, but I've noticed Colin doing it like very successfully. So yeah, I would be training my whole life for this moment.
So your worst skill in life?
My worst skill in life, like fear of confrontation.
So you don't like people getting up in your face then?
No, I don't.
Okay, it seems like that
I'm
because
working on it for sure.
I've already told this, other than the Segathon guys, because I think that some of them are a little bit brash. But I do think that most of the guys in the league are very passive. Where they're like, hey man, I don't want confrontation. And I said this to Adolf yesterday. I said because we're a bunch of geeks and dorks. So I said that kind of ties into us not wanting to confront people. So
Right.
I guess it comes with the territory of playing video games. I guess, especially when you're
like it comes as well with like Sean. Sean loves a good confrontation as well. So I think growing up, I've just been like, all right, man, like just chill. Like I'll I'll just kind of like
I'll smooth it over.
Kind of
I'll go over here and talk to the guy and smooth it over. You go over there and have another bottle of OE.
Yeah, ask Moses about that sometime. Yeah, he's always probably backing up Sean. So.
There you go. If you were on a deserted island and had 5 things to bring with you, what would they be?
5? Oh shit. Oh shit. I don't know. Yeah, let's go. Well, I guess can I hook up a TV through the sand?
Any 5 things. If you brought a TV, just imagine that there was like a power bar somewhere.
All right. We'll get our TV, a Sega system in '95. That'd be quite enjoyable.
That's considered a combo, so I'll allow that as 1.
That's just 1. All right. I'll bring a chessboard. Be number 2. I'll probably bring a pretty comfortable chair. It'd kind of be uncomfortable to just sit on the sand all day. So yeah, I'll bring a nice lounger. Probably some sunscreen. I'm pretty fucking white, so that would be probably pretty important for me. And
you're like creme brulee. You don't want to. You're like, I'm white, but I don't want to overly burn.
My skin would probably just burn off. So, yeah, the 5th item. I don't know, man. Like let's go with like War and Peace or something. Like it's not a very good book, but maybe I'll have enough time to just reread it, I suppose.
Yeah, and you can also dissect it if you need to. Sexiest accent.
Oh man.
And you're a world traveler now, so we have to put that into consideration.
No, that's very tough. I'll go with the Russian.
You don't like vodka? Why don't you come over here? I'll touch you.
Spot on.
Well, I wouldn't say spot on, but I would also say it's a guy hitting on you instead of a woman, so it sounds different. Something that makes you laugh no matter what.
I enjoy people getting hurt.
Yes. Good on you.
Like a Just for Laughs or something like that. Like I really enjoy that type of show. Yeah, generally those type of light pranks. If someone's getting seriously hurt, I'm obviously not too into it. But yeah, people getting lightly hurt, I can't stop laughing at that.
I'm a little bit different from you on that. I prefer seeing people get hurt, especially when it's something you're like, you shouldn't even be doing that, let alone trying to do something crazy with it.
Right.
So yeah, like skateboarders on I don't know, a drain pipe off the 6th floor thinking that they can hit it. It's like you're a moron. You already knew that's not going to happen. So that's it. What's your spirit animal?
I've actually been asked in a job interview once, what animal, what are you most like? What animal are you most like or something? And I said an old chill dog was the
an old golden retriever.
And I didn't get hired. So I think I'm gonna change that answer for my spirit animal. I'll go with a coyote or something like that. Yeah, cool. Or a raccoon maybe. I like raccoons.
Scavenger.
Yeah.
What is the league's best logo?
Oh shit.
I put you as number 1 for my book, but
that is a pretty nice logo. Yeah. Oh man, there's so many good ones. I like that Miami iguanas one. That one's pretty cool. Damn, that's tough. Yeah.
There's some good.
I'll go with myself. I like that. I like that guy eating the tree. That's pretty nice. Yeah. I'll go with that one. There's probably some others. I can't really think of them off the top of my head, but that Mid-Hattrick one, that's pretty nice too.
Yeah, that one's pretty good. I actually like Moses's. The Huron ones is pretty good.
Oh yeah, that was nice. Yeah. Go.
Caledonia's is pretty nice.
Yeah. Before
Who
Bears.
else?
Yeah.
Who else is not bad? Richfield's kind of sucks. McLean's is probably my favorite because it has a
Yeah,
play
that's a
on
good
it.
one.
So,
Yeah, no, I
um,
like that one too.
favorite? Do you have a nickname, or did you have a favorite nickname growing up?
Uh, Now people will call me Belly. I've actually heard like I think Nip's been calling my brother that, and I'm like, yeah, that's actually my name. So yeah, I'd say Belly. Yeah, no, not really. Just like people call. It's like having these like short, like Sean Bell, Nate Bell. Like everyone is always using our first and last name generally for when addressing us. So it's kind of
So it's kind of
yeah, I
like
don't know.
Kevin in The Office. Less words make big words.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
Put all the words together. What? Who has the weirdest style of play in the league?
The weirdest, eh?
Yeah, so like playing Nips would be considered a weird style in my opinion, where he does the dump and the flick around the net. So it's something where
Yeah,
when you play against it, you're just like, I don't know what the fuck are they trying to do, but it's effective.
Well, yeah, I would say Nips like for myself, I can kind of replicate that style. I'm just not as good as him. So for me, I don't think that's that weird. I honestly think you. If I had to say a style, I would say yours. Like I'm not really. I don't know. Like you're like kind of pure offense. I find it hard to like know what you're doing out there. Actually, like I don't think you have like a kind of a set go-to like play. You come to mind for sure. I would say like Tickenist as well, just because he passes so much. That's weird to me. Like I would never do that. So that's definitely like an odd one for me. But yeah, I don't know. Those are probably the two that come to mind as just being the very odd styles.
I'm trying to
Very
develop.
different from mine. I think. Yeah, like opposite of mine.
I'm trying to develop one, but I'm coming up on hard terms for it. But Tickness is the reason why he is. He's also passing at like 62% click on the season.
Right. Yeah, I played him yesterday, and it was or 2 days ago or something, and it was like it was crazy to play him because we have the exact opposite styles. So it's like looking at the passing numbers after he had attempted like 55, and I was at like 13 or something like that. It's just kind of funny, like
And
completely opposite styles.
and that's the thing I think I realized, and I think I found the flaw in the Waterloo crew. You guys do not pass the puck.
No, we don't know.
So the important thing is to beat you. You have to like I've started doing this, and I might be speaking out of turn, but is just shadow you.
Yeah, I think there's something to that.
There's something to that because if you're only going to pass the puck 13 times, and say you shoot at 12 or 14 in the game, there's only 26 opportunities of that puck going into the net, whether it's a breakaway, one timer, whatever it may be. That is not going to have many opportunities if you can stifle them enough.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's been interesting to see those charts that Thickness has put out, like with the passing numbers, because it's like you go to the lowest passers, and it's like kind of the Waterloo guys, LHX,
The top guys in the league.
It's kind of the top, like not the like I'm not putting myself in that group, but like it is very interesting to see like the people that pass more. It doesn't necessarily. But it is changing a little bit too. I saw like Sunnyvale passes a lot. He's always up top of those lists. Like Tickness is a good player. You know, like there are some guys that are good as well that pass a lot too. So honestly, that's what it's so cool. Like there's just so many different styles you can play that I think you just gotta find which one like works for you and master that.
Like honestly, for me, I think season one was like a lot of one timers. And I
Yeah.
think that's where everyone was. Season one was rang in the one timers, maybe some breakaways. King Raft took the breakaways on his own, but the one timers that was what everybody was focusing on. Season two, it became more of like the dump plays, the wraparounds, the cross creases. Season 3 and 4, it started to go back to season one a little bit. People were starting to rely on the one timers again because they started seeing more open ice.
Yeah.
But I honestly think for my style, I rely a lot on the slap shot, but I've also started working with the fake shot.
Yeah.
So
For
I
sure.
think that will have something to in play with my team to some degree.
Well, you can deep like I don't know. I feel like I have some trouble playing you because you do have like variety to your style. So I think it's good. Like you've got I don't know. You scored a bunch of one timers on me yesterday. You got like the down C. You can deke. So I think like the key is to be able to do a couple of different things. Like especially when you get into a playoff series, like it's very I don't know, it's kind of easier to like slow down someone that can only score a certain way. And if you don't know someone, if you know that someone cannot teach, I think it really helps as well. It helps me, like I can definitely like back check more, clog up the center of the ice if I'm not worried about like having to grab an angle right away.
Yeah.
Playing someone like a Colin, for example, it's like I'm on like high alert because I know if I give him a chance, he's going to score on a deep, you know. So I have to like grab manual right away, which can lead to like other things opening up, I guess. So.
Yeah, like the one play I've started noticing, I'm the only one that does it in the league, and you probably experienced it. If you guys have experienced it recently as well, is coming up along the board, slam on the brakes.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like that because they're like, I'm gonna line you up and blow you up, and then I slam on the brakes, and they're like, oh shit, and then I kind of get more of a space to work around. So,
well, I think our first game of the year, you scored like you did that with Solani, cut out, just took like a slap shot, and it went right through the manual goalie, like both times. So I was like, shit, like I guess you can't stay on manual from that angle, or it'll just like go right in.
That was an up C I got you on that one.
Yeah, up C, yeah, for sure. And I even had manual, so I think it's better to not get manual at that point, you know, like you were like kind of on that angle.
That's the hard thing, is that it's a very, very thin line of a reason of error when you use your manual goalie. If you lean on it right away, okay, you're locked in as a manual goalie. It's not going to be very obvious that you're going to switch over to play defense. So, but there's a threshold where people are like, I don't know if I should give up on manual goalie, or do I engage it now, and it might be already too late.
Yeah, no, exactly. And it's like, I think you have to have, like, you grab manual goalie, you get rid of it, you come back. Like, I think it has to be kind of like a dance when they're in the end, because someone like Providence who just sits on the manual goalie when you're in the end, like, I don't know, I find it hard to score on him. I think it's effective, but I'm not sure. I don't know. I think we saw Colin in the one playoffs just completely like expose him with that, because there's no like resistance with the D. Like if you get a guy that can deke really well, they're just gonna kind of dance around the like computer D man.
Oh yeah, and it's
King Raff would do that as well. Like if I sat on the goalie, he would just kind of like cruise around. He would have no like pressure on him.
Yeah, and that's the worst. That's the worst thing to do against an elite player, is that he's just like, you're gonna give me time. I'm gonna find a crack eventually. And the one thing I've been relying on is that, and you've probably seen it a few times, is with when I come up along the left hand board with Solani, and I do the loop around and I kind of cut a little bit to the front, but I wind up a slap shot.
Yeah.
That's when people start going to manual goalie, but I'm going short side, and I've scored. I score all the time with it because people are like, well, I mean, he's going to obviously shoot it and it's going to go wide right, but I go short left.
Yeah. That's the thing. Yeah, you got me short left both times that one game, and I was just like, shit. Like I had the manual, but so now when you did that last night, I was just trying to make sure to get off the manual right when you wound up, kind of thing.
Well, that's the hard thing, is because then when you start working the fake shot and people are starting realizing, shit, okay, now he's starting to like. I think my game is at a point right now where I have to like really lean on like a skill set that I need to adapt to my game, or I'm just going to stay in tier 2/tier 3 kind of limbo all the time.
Yeah, it's tough. Like, I don't know, it's interesting because I think a lot of I don't know, like I would put probably 6 guys in the top tier of this league. And then I think there's a group below that from probably like 7 to, who knows, like 22 or something like that are like very, very close in level.
Oh yeah, like
so it's really fascinating.
So who would be your top 6?
Probably like Sean Collin, LHX, Pitt, like Sagathon and Troy Hill, I think would probably be like a little bit of a tier above, I would say. But again, like I think all of those guys are beatable.
They all are.
They're definitely like, as you took LHX to 7, like Audubon beat LHX. Like I would put like probably everyone else in a little bit of a tier below. Like if you were to play 100 times, you'd probably only win 25 to 30 or something like that. But yeah. I do think it's like possible to beat all of those guys. Like Colin and Sean have been kind of unbeatable in the playoffs so far. So I don't know if we can kind of like necessarily say that, but I think they're both beatable as well, right? Like,
I think
you just get them on the right day.
I think that the big thing is when I originally did the standings, when I went to this 4-tiered or 4-division league, I think it was after season 2, and I said I need to. Well, it was in season 2 we had 4 divisions as well, but it just didn't seem balanced. There was only 4 divisions overall, not 4 divisions per conference. And once we hit 32 teams in season 4, I was just like, okay, this is going to be a perfect setup. We're going to be able to have 4 teams per division, 4 conferences, 4 divisions per conference, but 4 teams per division. And I thought to myself, I'm like, okay, I have to balance out the teams. How am I going to do this? I'm like, well, obviously, I'm not going to put all the Waterloo guys on one side. Okay, I'll put Colin and Sean away from each other. And I worked my strategy like that downwards, and it seemed to have trickled out properly because it just seems like I keep getting messages from LHX. I get them from Sean. I got them from Segathon. A few other guys are like, the relegation and promotion thing is such a vital thing now to your division. Is because if you have a tier A team coming down, you're like, okay, they're gonna like shake, rattle, and roll this division, and then you play them, and you're like, they're actually not as good as they were in tier 1.
Right.
So it's kind of like change of persona in a sense. Like even Wolf went from tier 2 to tier 3, and he's not performing as good, and he's in tier 3. Even for myself, I've moved up from tier 2, and I'm like middle of the pack. But the funny thing is I got Sunnyvale, who came from tier 1, who could potentially drop to tier 3.
Yeah, well, he's played a lot of the real good guys to start too.
I got all my tough games out of the way. I only have one tier 1 left.
It's gonna be very interesting to see how the season plays out because there's no easy games at all, right? Like,
no.
There's 0 easy games in like our schedule or in a tier 1 schedule, even tier 3. Like it's pretty tough, so it's gonna be very interesting to see like how it plays out. And I just think like these groups are tier 2 and tier 3 are so close, and even some of tier 1 as well. Like I just think the skill levels are so close that it just depends like on the day.
And then the important thing is when I did it all, I wanted to make sure that the divisions had some balance to them. Like it's not like you had 4 high scoring offenses and no defense. So I wanted to put some juggernauts in there. I know Segathon is a juggernaut on defense, and then the same thing with LHX. He was a juggernaut on defense. Sean's defense in the regular season, it's good, but there's holes, and I think every season he patches it up with fucking like concrete when he gets to the playoffs, and nobody can fucking score on him. Right. So I find that funny.
Yeah. Do you agree with those top 6?
Oh yeah, I would say Adolf, Puss, Segathon, Colin, LHX, and Sean. Colin and Sean. Yeah. So that I'd have the exact same 6, but it seems like there's another guy that could potentially be in that grouping, but he doesn't get the recognition as Autobahn.
Yeah, interesting. Okay.
He could potentially be that tier 1 type player because when you do play him, like he beats the fuck out of you.
Oh, he's good. Yeah, he's a really good player. For sure.
And then there's Blair, so Richfield, who's in the same light, but after he beat me 3-0 the other night, and then I beat him 3-1, but I outshot him 19-3 and out body checked him 41 to 17. So I locked him down, and he told me after, he's like, I can't rely on the cross crease against you. I'm like, no, you can't.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I agree. Like those guys are great players, but I kind of feel like they're more in the in that next year. I just think there's like a huge group that are very, very close in that next year, and then you go all the way down to like Ellis, and I think he can play with anyone in that tier, beat them on a given day. It's just like a huge group of teams, which is really cool. And I'm not sure like what the limit is of how
many teams,
or like how good you can get, or like will everyone eventually like kind of work up to that level, or like are the top teams still improving? You know what I mean? Like it seems like the gap is kind of closing a little bit, but I'm not sure if that's actually true.
I think there is some truth to it. I think I talked to Sean about this, is that he says that his game has elevated, but he says everybody else's games are catching up to his.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that. Yeah.
So I think it is getting to a point where we're going to start taking out aspects of the game that allow people to be more skillful. So I know the Waterloo guys hate penalties, and that's something that's coming in season 6. Half the penalties are going to be taken out.
Yeah.
So there's still going to be penalties, but there's going to be less breaks in the game. I'm working on seeing if I can raise the glass at the back of the nets so that the puck bounces off the glass instead of goes in the crowd every 10 seconds.
Right.
And then potentially fighting might be coming in, but
That'll change the game, though. Eh? Like
I
if the glass is raised, like I don't know. That's very interesting.
I was thinking of raising the glass if I can figure out where it is in the game where I can make the adjustments. But then there's also the fighting aspect. I said to guys, I said, hey, listen, if you're cool with no penalties except fighting, then we can put fighting in. But if you don't want fighting, I'm cutting half the penalties regardless. So
I'm like undecided how I feel about that. I like the idea of fighting for sure, and I like the like blood and stuff. But I do agree with like slowing down the game too much might be annoying to some people. It would be nice to have like one fight a game or something like that, you know, like have one, or I don't know how it would work.
So the thing is that I like going into the coding part, which just bore people to death. Basically, each penalty takes about 10 seconds from the time the penalty is called and the game stops until the player's in the box and the face-off is dropped.
Okay.
For fights, it's 40 seconds, but if say you have 5 penalties in the game, that's 50 seconds taken away, but you have a 40-second fight.
Gotcha.
So you're like, are you okay with the longer fights to justify getting rid of penalties completely? But you still get penalties, but then power play opportunities. The power plays would be 2 minutes at that point, not 5, because it's a fight.
Yeah, right.
But both teams would be short a player. So you're basically playing 4-on-4.
How would the fight start? It's just random, or you have to like press C to get it going?
No, basically the thing is that there's players in the game, and when you go into the handling of the player, you have 0 and 1, which is their stick handling right or left.
Okay.
But in the game, it goes up to 15. So it's the same skill level as stick handling, which stick handling is on a 15 scale. The handness and fighting is actually the same scale. So a player can have, say they have 15, means they're a left-handed fighter.
Okay.
But if you have a person who's 3, they're a left-handed player who might rough it up once in a while.
And would that mean like they're good at fighting, or they're like more likely to fight?
More likely to fight.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So that'd be a component
so
to
that
consider.
Also make like if someone had that, like a really good player, that makes them like less valuable, I suppose, right? If they're, like,
It could, because then you'd start having people targeting your players.
right.
Which could add another level to the game.
Yeah, interesting.
But it's something maybe down the road. And I told this to the other guys as well, that season 10 would likely be all-time teams.
Oh, okay.
Because it'll be 10 seasons from 95 to 2005. And it's your roster of your players that you've had over your 10-year career with the team, and you create your roster based on those rosters for those 10 seasons.
And they're like peak season or whatever? Or?
You choose whatever season you want that their likelihood everyone's going to like bulk up their teams.
Oh, man.
But it's only going to be like a 20-game season kind of thing, or like a round robin / like tournament.
Yeah, I like that.
So there's going to be no statistic keeping or anything like that. It'll be kind of like what we did for the Waterloo tournament, like on the side.
No, that's cool for sure.
So that will just be for the all-star, or the lockout season.
Right.
So
I like that a lot.
Do you have any secret talents?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess like I can speak Spanish, and I can kind of speak Chinese. I'm learning Chinese.
Oh shit. Okay. Dos cervezas muy frío.
Yeah.
If you had a superpower, what would it be?
Probably to learn any language. I think that would have to be it.
Okay, that's a good one because
be able to speak every language. That's a better way of putting it. Yeah.
That's a good way. A lot of people, the 2 I've had so far is flight. So
yeah, that would also be very nice.
Mine to be self-healing. I can't get hurt. Cool. I can't get hurt.
That'd be nice. Yeah.
If do you collect anything, and if you do, what is it?
I collect masks to put on the wall. So like wherever I travel, I try to grab like a mask.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I have like a pretty nice collection, like 50 or so masks now. Yeah, it's kind of cool.
So like tribal masks in a way.
Yeah, exactly. Try to get like one from each kind of like different region and stuff. So yeah, it's like a nice variety.
Oh, interesting. Funniest sounding word that is not funny.
Can I use a non-English word? Or?
Sure. If it's funny to you.
I'm gonna go with the Chinese word. It's like "mamahu," which is like it means so, which is a very like I think it's a word that like a lot of like the foreigners that speak Chinese like to use. But,
okay.
Yeah. Bit of an odd one. Yeah.
That's pretty good. Mine was kumquat.
Kumquat. What does that mean?
It's a fruit, the kumquat.
Okay.
But then like everybody else said moist.
Yeah, actually, that popped into my mind as well.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Your worst personal experience.
My worst personal experience?
Yeah.
Shit. My worst personal experience? I don't know. Yeah, that's a tough one.
You
yeah,
just said it earlier.
We'll go with that. Yeah, I was going to go with the milk as well, but yeah, we'll say I've gotten bed bugs traveling, which is not very enjoyable. So yeah, we'll go with that one.
Oh no. Okay, that doesn't sound good at all. Okay, so if you were building an NHL '95 hockey team based on the coaches in the league, who would be your players and which positions would they be?
Base? Okay, repeat that again. I'm not sure if I
So you're building your starting six.
Okay.
For NHL '95, but you have to use players which are our coaches. So Sean being your left wing, or build your roster of 6.
Oh, okay. What, in terms of their 95 ability or like real hockey ability?
The 95 ability, because we don't know what everybody else's real hockey ability is.
Okay, we'll go. Sean could be. Put Sean on defense. Sean could be the D-man. We'll have LHX as the other D-man. Colin can be the center. We'll go Sunnyvale. McLean could be right wing for some cross crease action there. And I guess we need a goalie too, eh? Who's the best goalie in the league?
Segathon.
Segathon, yeah, good call. Segathon definitely the goalie there, and left winger. We'll go yourself for those little spin back slap shots there.
I would have thought that you put yourself, but
No.
A personal life deal breaker.
Personal life deal breaker?
Yeah, so like if you're out in work and you have like you can't stand annoying people, or like bad breath, or somebody has BO.
Yeah, I think whining people. I don't enjoy whiners.
Okay.
That.
Yeah, that's actually a good winos. Yeah, that's good.
Needy or whining people. I don't enjoy this.
So these next 2 or 3 are going to be kind of quick. Weapon of choice if you went into a real life battle.
Oh, one of those ninja stars.
The ninja stars themselves. I don't know the names of them, but like they're not the side, because the side is what Raphael uses, the 3-pointed one. Guilty pleasure.
Guilty pleasure? Oh fuck, I don't know. I'm probably pie. I eat a lot of pie. Well, I don't eat a lot of pie, but if it's around, I will eat a lot of pie.
I'm close to you on it. Mine's candy.
Alright, okay.
Yeah, I got a sweet tooth. Favorite sport is playing as a kid.
Baseball.
Baseball. And then the last one before we move to the last segment. If you had one player on your team that you would trade, who would it be? And it has to be your forwards.
One player who I would trade. I guess we'll go. Let's probably go Paul Feast. Just because I feel like left wing is more replaceable than right wing. I don't know if I'd be able to find an adequate right winger to replace Bill Guerin. So, yeah, I'll go Paul Feast. Even though I'm enjoying him so far. Thank you, Wolf.
There you go. I would have asked about your defense and forwards, but you got rid of McKinnis. You already have Zubov, and you got Patrick Roy now. So I know Patrick Roy's an upgrade over Grant Fuhr.
Oh, he's been awesome. I'm really enjoying playing with a couple of those slap shots he took last night, down T's. I was like, shit, man, Roy, I don't even have to worry with him in that.
But that's the big thing, is because once those down C's and you see that puck go between their legs, but it sticks there like glue, you're like, thank God that didn't trickle in. But
I think Autobahn scored 3 or 4 of those in the last couple games of our series last year on Fear. Like, not even like good ones either. And I was just like, all right, I gotta get a goalie upgrade. I was trying to trade for like Belfour or Waugh. Thankfully, Wolf was.
He really wanted Chara.
Yeah, you got McKinnis and Chara. Nice deep pairing there.
Yeah, but he's going to be screwing himself. Yeah, Chara's going to be good, but then that's when McKinnis falls off is when Chara starts taking up. So
Oh,
he's
true,
going to
true.
lose one of them. But the big thing is that I notice is that the reason why Roy is so good at that Belfour hash check is because their puck control is 6.
Oh, really? I've never looked at goalie like those individual stats actually. Like, which ones matter? Speed, I guess. Or...
No, speed doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
Speed could be 0. It has no bearing on what he
Interesting.
does.
Okay. Okay.
Agility is huge
Okay.
because that's basically them moving left to right.
Right.
I struggle with Vakun because he's got a 4, and every single time fucking my defenseman touch him, he's like, oh, I can't move over there, and I give up a goal. And then like the glove right, glove left, stick right, stick left, it has some bearing, but if you're using manual goalie, it doesn't really matter so much. The big ones are your defensive awareness and puck control with agility. Defense awareness, not even really all that much. That's more of them like if the defenseman's coming close, they have enough awareness to say, okay, I'm going to move back over. If the puck's going behind the net, I can go and get it because I'm in a good position.
Or maybe the like dump behind the net. Like, do the ones with that awareness probably just like cruise into the corner, like the
yeah,
goalies do
exactly.
sometimes?
Yeah, that's their defensive awareness. But puck control.
That's interesting. I've never looked at that. Yeah.
Puck control is when like you take a shot at them. Could they corral the puck so there's no rebound, or are they able to like stop the puck from being a slap shot between their legs? If their puck control is 3s and 2s, you're gonna be fucking Swiss cheese in net.
Yeah, right.
That's why Grant Fuhr was such a liability for you.
He was pretty good all year. I was like, because he was an upgrade over like I had Neely or some shit the year before. So I was like, oh, this is nice having a 75 ranked goalie. But then the playoffs, I was like, man, this guy, I gotta get something better. Like,
you had Healy and Tabarachi.
yeah. What a duel.
Oh, they're horrible. But so bringing us to our last segment, it's ask me what you want, or if there's something on your mind that you wanted to talk about. It could be short, it could be long, whatever you want.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what comes to mind. I guess like, are there any? I guess I'll just ask you like, are there any like upcoming changes in the league that I don't know that are like new or interesting that you think, or are we just gonna kind of keep it like the status quo?
We're kind of going to keep it status quo. Like there has been some rumblings about like the penalty part that's going to be reduced in season 6. So half the penalties are going away. I think when I ran the numbers, it was like 38% of the penalties that occur are penalties that don't happen very often. So like slashing, tripping, I think. Slashing, tripping, and the hooking, I think, are the ones. I'm getting rid of interference because I get fucked over too many times at that. But there's 4 penalties being removed to reduce the number of penalties, so it speeds up games. There was discussion of putting fighting in, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think I'll use it more for like my NHL series mod creations. Then realignment, me and Sutton have been going back and forth, but I don't want to go to like a 4-tier system where you have 4 tiers. That's it. Which then you're basically saying to people like you can't move up or you can't do off. I like the way it's set up now because it gives you the hockey feeling, it gives you the series, it gives you the opportunity to get in the playoffs. Even though if you're a lower seed, you could still technically get in, and then you also still have something to play for.
Right.
So
no, I like these divisions. And, like, I like how many games. I don't know. It's kind of fun to like play you 6 times or whatever, you know, and like play. I feel like me and like Unholy played 4 games last year. Like I don't know, we kind of developed a rivalry. We'll play 6 times this year, like stuff like that. Where if you only play twice, then it's I think it's harder to develop those rivalries. So
well, no, that's kind of where I went with season 3 was to increase the kind of the series or the times you play people in your division, and then the same thing would happen in season 4. But season 5, I had to increase the divisional play because it had such a bearing of who goes up and who goes down.
Right.
So I thought that, and also like the newer teams, so all the 10 expansion teams there's only 4 teams of the 10, or the tier 4 teams. Only 4 of them play tier 3. So Ganby, Caledonia, Ekil, and Canstandia, they're the only 4 that play tier 3 teams. Everybody else in that division, they play only within their division. So
interesting. Okay.
it gives them an opportunity to get used to the league, gives them an opportunity to play against people that are probably more on their level. And by the time the season's done, they could say, okay, if you make it to the next tier and you move up, you might be ready, and you might fall back down again, but you're like, no, it was a good year of learning, or I got more experience to play against some higher caliber teams.
Yeah. No, I think it's good. Like I think, well, my two buddies are like Tuktoyak and golfer.
Yeah.
The Caledonia golfer did, and no, like I think they would both rather. I don't know, like yeah, I think they would both enjoy like playing guys at their skill level more so.
But
I guess it's a tough balance. Like it would also be nice probably to play some of the higher guys too. But if there's too many of those games, they get kind of killed. So.
Well, and that's kind of what happened in season 3 when Matty A was playing. And
yeah,
like
exactly.
just how he was going through, and like I give him so much props of like taking the bumps on his nose. Gamby's another one, and now Gamby's in the division where he's only playing people around. Maybe I wouldn't say the same caliber because Gamby's pulled off some big wins in his career, but it's having a little bit more consistency of playing people that are like, okay, if I play well in this division, I can move up. I don't have to like be like I'm going from tier 4 to tier 1.
Yeah.
Like you're not expecting this huge jump. So like if you do have a regression year, you're like, okay, I'll fall down one division or I'll stay where I am, and then get more practice at that level.
Yeah. No, so, I think it's worked out really well actually. I like. I was a bit skeptical when you first implemented it, but no, I think it's worked out great.
Oh, a lot of people like it because they're like, I get to play more, and especially there's guys in some of the divisions where like. I don't know, like say for yourself in Unholy, you played 4 times, you probably played all 4 in the same night.
Right. It's kind of like a series, right?
Yeah, you have a series with each other, but then after that series is done, you're like, okay, I don't have to play them again, but it was good to get 4 games in. I got a good run. If I want to play a couple more, I can play a team that I only have to play twice.
Yeah, for sure.
So
having that balance.
So that has that balance. So,
yeah.
But other than that, anything else on your mind, or any sign-off quotes or whatever? No horse meat?
I think that's good. I won't be too inspirational today. So thanks. Appreciate the time. It's helped me get through this drive. So that was great.
Not a problem. So everybody, that was NathanMB, coach of the Taipei Typhoons, and we'll see you on the next episode with Saskatchewan Sam Squanches with Halifax.